Yeah, I got 3 problems written on the board. Can't see them, I'll put them over here as well. I think everyone should, but if you can't, here you go. Here's the first one. Second one. And third one. Now, goal today. Goal today is to show you how to do this in different ways. Because everyone has a different way of multiplying, they really do. There's lattice method, there's column, which some people call the long way of doing it. I can show you how to do it with pickup sticks, where, you know, if you've ever played the game of pickup sticks, where you hold like a bunch of sticks and you drop them, and the sticks all like line up on top of each other, and then you're supposed to pick up certain sticks off the pile. It's this game that grandparents used to play, but I can actually teach you how to multiply using sticks. Like, it's a pretty weird way of doing it, but it actually works.
Is it hard?
No, it's just literally drawing a bunch of lines. That's all you're doing. It's like, it's actually a very visual way of doing it. So I got a bunch of different methods we can do. So, but piece of paper, put your name on. Now, I'm gonna take these here in a minute, okay? I want to give you some time where you can try it, you can attempt, even if you're not good or not.
May I have your attention, please? The ag students got released late. Please submit them to second period without a tap. Thank you.
Now, again, make sure your name's on that piece of paper, make sure date's on it. Now, what I like to do is turn it over, turn it to the other side, okay? I know this seems weird. Some of you got a chance to try it, maybe you didn't finish them all, you at least got to attempt it. The goal today is we're gonna learn a couple things. So I'm gonna have you put it on the paper on the back, and then what I'm gonna have you do is go back to the other side here in a minute, and we're gonna attempt those problems one more time, if that makes any sense. This is my goal. I wanna get through these problems today. That's it, 3. I wanna get through 3 problems. Once we're through it, I'll let you go back to the other side and attempt it to retry it or make some corrections or fix it. Maybe you did it right. So, but I want to at least let you attempt to see. Okay? So these were the 3 problems, are the same problems that we'll put over there. Okay? All right. I'm going to get rid of this. You guys got the idea. All right. Now, I'm going to show you very, very different styles for each problem. That's why we're only doing 3, but I'm going to show you different ways of doing it. So the first way, let's go to the 15 times 23. Okay? It doesn't matter the order that you put it when you do column method. Column method is where you stack them. It doesn't matter which number you put on the top. I always say to put the bigger number on the top, the larger number. But it actually doesn't matter at all. You'll get the same answer. It just wouldn't create more work if you put the bigger number on the bottom sometimes. Like especially like this one down here, the 306, I would most definitely put 306 on the top. And I'll show you the concept here in a second. How this works, how column method works, is you're really just multiplying one number at a time. So if you had one of these multiplication charts, it makes it really easy. Now, does anyone actually want one of these just before we start today? Not a big deal. Okay. Not a big deal. If you want one, I'll give you one. This does make it easier if you need to. Anyone else want one? Okay. Not a big deal if you want one. Trust me, it makes it a lot easier when you have one of these sitting in front of you. Okay. Anyone else want one? Okay. And if you have one, you can take it out. Okay. Trust me, it's one of those things you might want one. Sorry. Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. All right. So if you do, I'll put it on my desk. You can just go up here and grab one. Don't feel bad. Okay. All right. Now, here's the idea. You're multiplying one number at a time. So really, the only thing is when you're multiplying, you're really only doing like very small digits. So if you have one of my multiplication charts, I'm not joking, you're literally just doing the first box, like the first 9 by 9 box. So all the numbers should be really small numbers. Like you shouldn't be going off of the chart and using weird, crazy numbers. That's the beauty of doing this. Now, how you start, and these are the rules, you start with the bottom right corner. That's the number you start with. And what you do is one number at a time, you multiply it to the top. One digit at a time. So you're taking 3 times 5. And then you're going to eventually, once you're done with that, then you're going to take it 3 times 1. That's it. So it's super small numbers. It's always like a single digit number you're multiplying together. Now, when you do that, let's say your answer turns out to be 2 digits, like the first one. What is 3 times 5? 15, right? It's a 2-digit number. So you put the 5 for 15, right? Because you normally write 15, 3 times 5. But you just carry the next one over. That's the 1 and 5 make 15. Does that make sense what you're doing? So anytime you have a second digit, it just carries to the next column. If there's no column there, you can put a 0 and just put the 1 above it. So like if I needed another number, I could put a 0 here and then carry the next number over. Okay, does that make sense? One number at a time. Now, we're gonna do it again. So we carried the number over, not a big deal. What is 3 times 1? 3. And then if you carry the number over, you add it to it. So 3 times 1 was 3, and we're gonna add a 1 to it, which is? 4. Boom. You did the first row. That's how you multiply it. That's why having the multiplication chart makes it really easy, because all you have to do is go, okay, 3, 5, that's 15. Like that chart shows you what the answers are, right? Okay, now we're not done yet, because obviously we only did the 3. We're done with the 3. We'll never come back to it. I don't need it anymore. So now that we're done with the 3, this is the part that hopefully Mr. Dryman talked with you yesterday. You're going to put what I call a guard dog or an Easter egg, or you're going to put a filler. This filler that I'm going to put takes the place of the 3 we just got rid of. Because if you agree, the 3 is like in this bottom right corner. We got rid of it, so I'm going to put a placeholder of it. So I'm putting like a little egg that's right below the 5, because the 3 is gone. And what we're going to do is we're going to start, I'm starting all the way over, and we're going to start with the 2 now, and we're going to do it the exact same way. But those answers go here, after the guard dog, because we got rid of the 3, and the 3 is that weird corner spot. Okay, 2 times 5. 10. Okay, so 10 is a 2-digit number, so it's 10 is a 0 or a 1 and a 0. So I'm going to go 0 for 10 and carry the 1 to the next column. 2 times 1. 2, and we add the 1 above it. 3. Does that make sense? Anytime it's a 2-digit number, you put the first, like the back number, and then you carry the first number over. So if it's 10. And then what you do is you just add 3 down. And you add just these up. So 5 plus the 0 here. It's 5. 4 plus 0. 4 and 3. Boom. There's your answer. It's 345.
Whoa.
That's the trick for columns. Some people are never taught that, which is not a big deal. So if you've never been taught that, don't feel bad. It's just a different strategy. It comes and goes. Some people like it. Some people really don't. It doesn't offend me if you're not a person that likes that at all. Okay? So there's another method for you. If you don't like that, I have a different method that's maybe a little more clean and might make a little more sense if you have a multiplication chart in front of you. And that's the lattice method. So lattice method, we're going to do the 15, or let's do the 6 times 18. Okay, so I'm going to go 6 times 18. For the lattice method, you make a box, like a grid. And for each of these numbers, you make them however long they are. So what I mean by that is if it's a 2-digit number or a 1-digit number, it doesn't make a difference. So the first number, I'm going to make this a 2-digit number. I'll show you why I'm doing that. So I'm going to make a 2-digit number, so I'm going to write 0 and 6 up here. Now the reason why I made it a 2-digit number, 0, 6, because that means the same number 6, is because the other number is also a 2-digit number. So that I'm going to go 1 and 8 going down for 18. Does that make sense? I like to make them the same size. Like so, 2-digit number, 2-digit number. If you put zeros in front, it doesn't change your number. Okay, does that make sense? And what you do is you just make a box out of it, like a Foursquare game. Right? If you ever played Foursquare in physical education. Okay, now that you have your grid, right? Because if you can see it, we have columns, we have rows, and they're exactly the same number. So it makes like a really perfect box. And what you're supposed to do is draw like little diagonal lines through each box. Cut each box in half. Cut each box in half. Because all you're going to do is use your multiplication chart, and this is the beauty of doing it this way, it's very visual, is you're just going to multiply the big red numbers together, like row and column, right? So column, row, and you're going to put that answer here as a 2-digit number. Because everything will be a 2-digit number. So, just if you're using a multiplication chart or just common sense, what is 6 times 1? 6. So 0 and a 6. You always make it a 2-digit number. Right? 0, 6, right? For the number 6. Okay, let's do it again. What's 0 times 1?
0.
0. Anything times 0 is still 0. So 0 times 1 is 0. So I just put double zeros there for 0, the number 0. Okay, yeah. So 6 times 8 is 48, so I put a 4 and an 8 for 48. You always make it a 2-digit number. And then 0 times 8? 0. It's always a 0, right? Anything times 0 is 0. Then yeah, you just add, like, if you can see it, you're adding these diagonals together. You're adding these up. The numbers that go diagonally with each other. And whatever your answer is, that's what it is. So I always start in this bottom quarter. 8 plus nothing else is 8. What's 6 plus 4 plus 0? That's 10, right? And we carry the 1 to the next row over, because that was a 2-digit number, so I carry the next number. 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 1 and 0 out front. So your answer is 0, 1, 0, 8, which is the same thing as 108. It's a very weird way of doing it. It's super visual. Like, it's using everything in like diagonals, but the beauty of doing it this way is you don't have to worry about, like, okay, am I carrying a number? Am I multiplying the next row? Did I forget this guard calc? You don't have to think about any of that. You're just using like visual aids to do it. You're using a box and you're filling in the 2-digit numbers. Okay, does that make sense? We'll go over another example here in a minute. But I want you to see these examples. All right, last one. 306 over 32, right? We can do it any way you want. So I'll do it either, I'll either do it with the column or I'll do it with the grid. It's kind of up to you. I'll take a consensus here. If you want me to do it both methods, I'll show you both to show you the answer. But I want you to pick one of the two. Okay, so we want the grid, the lattice method, or do you want the column? So raise your hand if you want lattice. Raise your hand if you want lattice. Okay, raise your hand if you want the column method. Raise your hand if you don't want to do. Okay. So, okay, let's do it by lattice. That's what the most common one that we want to see. So we're going to do the 306 and the 32. I'm going to leave those up there. But let's do that right over here. Okay, so 306 and 32. Okay, so we're going to put this in a big box, right? So I'm going to try to make them the same size. So I'm going to try to make it with zeros and whatnot. So the box itself is going to be a 3x3 box, because I have 306. And then going down this way, I'm going to put a 0, 3, 2 for 32. I like to make them the same size. Now, here's the weird part. You don't actually have to do that. It just makes it easier to look at. Okay? All right, there we go. So if you just want to put 32 and not 0, 3, 2, I just like to make it even, like, so the box is perfectly square. And I'm going to cut each box in half. Okay, so each box in half. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually multiply. Okay, so multiplying these numbers out, let's fill these in. What is 6 times 0? 0. Okay. 0 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. Okay, so that's very easy. Again, 3 times 0, that's zeros. 0 times 0, 6 times 0. Okay, we've got that. Those numbers, that's easy. That's why that row really doesn't matter. Okay, let's go to the next one. 6 times 3. 18. There's your 18.
0.
Okay, 0 times 3. 9. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, again, I'm just going to row and column, row, column, row, column. 6 times 2, 12. Again, if you have your multiplication chart, it's 12. 0 times 2, and 6 for 3 times 2. So, and I always make it a 2-digit number. Again, that's the row times the column. Again, if you had a multiplication chart, you can fill those in. Now, all we need to do is add the diagonals, and that will give us our answer. So this bottom number, the last number is a 2. This number adds up to be 9, because that's 8. This adds up to be 7.
Yeah, so
Adds up to 9. That's a 0, and that's a 0. So yeah, so your answer should be 9,792.
Hey, what was the rule with the decimal? I feel like there used to be a rule.
There is. You go down and get
Yeah, for if there's decimals, we'll get to that later. How I do this, I don't even worry about the decimal here. You just count how many decimals there are, like if there's actual decimals, and you just start in the back and you count how many decimal places there are.
Yeah,
That's literally what you do. You just like, so if there's 3 decimals places up there, go 3 over. That's all you do. But so the grid works every time. Some people really like that because you can't mess it up. You literally just write in 2-digit answers. You just have to make sure that you add up the numbers like diagonally following your red line. But And it doesn't even take a really good artist, because I can't draw to save my life, as you can tell, but I can still kind of follow like the diagonal how I'm adding. The only problem is if this adds it to be a 2-digit number, you have to carry that first number over to the next column. So if this added to be like 17, you'd have to add the 1 to the next row, the next like diagonal. Okay, does that make sense?
No.
Okay, so those are the two methods. The last method, if you have your piece of paper, right? Some people probably haven't used it too much. Maybe you have. I'm going to show you how to do this with weird like pickup sticks, like a very weird drawing. So if you've never seen pickup sticks before, it is literally like this canister that my grandparents used to have. It was a very old game. It was kind of very straightforward. It was like a little cylinder, almost like a Pringles can. So here's my tube of Pringles. And inside the actual canister are these different colored sticks. And I mean, they look like chopsticks, basically. They're really skinny, almost, they're bigger than toothpicks, but they're, I don't know, maybe
Like a straw?
Yeah, like almost like a straw kind of thing, but they're solid wood. Like they're made of wood, and they're different colors. So reds, yellows, greens, blues, all that. And what you do is, they're all in the thing, you tip it over, and all the sticks fall onto the floor, and they just like, they're making like this weird like bird's nest. They're all like mixed together, they're just, you know, they're all gridded up like this. And what you're supposed to do is take your finger and reach in there, and you're supposed to pick up the stack and literally try to not make any of them move. So if any of the sticks move as you're trying to grab one, you have to put it back where you found it, and then the next person goes. And you're supposed to add up a score. Each stick is a different score. It's a simple game, but it was basically like fine motor skills. It's for like really young kids. All right, so anyway, I can teach you how to multiply using sticks, like drawings of sticks. So just to prove the point, let's say you're taking, let's go 3 times 11. I'm going to just show you the concept, right? Just to show you that this is a very easy type of thing. Like we already know what 3 times 11 is. In fact, you can use your multiplication chart,
33.
and you already know the answer is 33. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how this works. Okay, so 3 and 11, right? So what you're supposed to do if you're going to do it this way, you draw the first number as row. 3 sticks. The next one, the 11, you draw 11 sticks down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? So they're all like kind of cross-hatched together. So it was 3 and 11 sticks going down. Yeah, you can count 11. And literally to multiply, what you're supposed to do is add up how many actual crosshairs you just created. Well, if I keep circling, there's 33 of them. There's a perfect 33. How I know that? It is literally 11 plus 11 plus 11, that's 33. Okay, that's the concept. Now, that seems stupidly simple. Okay, that's easy. But when you get to a bigger number, it's crazy that it still works. So what was that first number I gave you? 15 times 23. Okay, let's do that. Some people like it, some people don't, because it's very visual. You literally just count with your, you just count the number of crosshatches. Okay, so 15 times 23 with a little like crosshairs. All right, so these are 2-digit numbers. 2-digit numbers. So here's how it's supposed to work. The first one, and this is the weird part, you make 15 like this. A 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that represents the number 15 in sticks, like 1 stick and 5 sticks. The other one is 23. So the first number is 2, the next number is 3. Right? Do you see that, where I went 2 and a 3 for 23? And now what you do is, no joke, you add up the crosshairs, and it will give you your answer every time. So here's what I mean. So you add it like this. This group down here is the back answer. These groups in the middle, I'll circle them in different colors. These groups in the middle, kind of like going diagonal, kind of like your lattice method, those add up to be the second number. And then the first number are these. And so what's the first number?
2.
2, right? There's 2 little crosshairs. The back number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so the back number's a 15. But that means you have to carry the 1 to the next column. So the 1 will carry over to the next row, because you can't write a 2-digit number. Okay, so I'm going to count up these. So remember, I'm carrying a 1 over from the 15 that we just got from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Right, because I added the 1 over. So this was a 14. So then I carry the 1 to the next column. And so this now makes it 3, so your answer is 345. I can teach you how to multiply with stupid sticks, colored sticks in front of you if you need to. Now, would anyone in their right mind do it? Probably not. But it's kind of a cool concept, like the proof of concept is there. It's very weird. I bet no one on this planet knows you can do that. All right. Anyway, I want you to at least see different methods, because obviously some people really like Lattice, right? Some people really like it, because it's very visual. Some people like the column method, because it's more structured. Like you're always doing the same rules every time. Some people are very visual. I'm a very visual person, as you can tell. I'm using something that probably no one has ever done before. But that's like the concepts you can do. All right, questions, comments, concerns about any of those? Okay, here's what I like to do. Go back to the first page. If you haven't already, try to make some fixes on those numbers. If maybe you didn't even finish it, put it down again. Okay? I'll put the 3 numbers back on the board. So what was the first one? It was 15 times 23?
Yeah, 18.
So 15 times 23. What was the next one?
6 times 18.
6 times 18.
306.
306 times
32.
32. Okay, now I've already done these. You probably are even taking notes. You can go back and make fixes if you need to. I want to at least see that you have something you can use. You can use any method. Okay, I'll let you write that down. You can try it, go back, make the fixes. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes here to go back if you need to make any changes.
Yeah, you did. You dropped a homework assignment.
One of these.
Yeah. It's under your desk.
We have homework.
How far? Oh, I got it. Didn't realize how far it went.
What?
That wasn't me.
Okay. What was that? I'm gonna take it here in a little bit. Because you're gonna get points for just attempting. Even if you're right or wrong, you get points. So I like to give points. At least you're attempting to do it. Now, if you're done, name, date on it. If you've
What's the
attempted it, date today is the 17th. It's on the board. Okay, you take it, make sure your full name's on there. You get credit no matter if you're right or wrong. I at least want to give you something for trying because I appreciate that. Helps out the grades. Yes.
Nerd.
Ben,
No, it was him.
go ahead.
What?
I remember school, you were going to school first day.
Right, how does it go again?
Is your name on
Down to your back?
Oh, my crop.
Hey, Edwin.
Oh, you need the crop.
It's your brother.
No.
You gonna pick me on?
Here, there you go.
Where's throwing my crop?
There you go. Edwin?
All right.
Edwin, you want those? How many times do you want?
There you go.
There you go. There's one left in the tray.
That's my
Hold on to that.
I just think somebody is his mom.
Oh, you still working there?
That's exactly what he is.
No, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Your response?
Yep. Is the rest of it? Is the rest
I'm gonna put your front row.
Like a dog.
Okay, hey, did I get everyone's piece of paper? Alright, now, hey, here's the thing. Shh. With multiplying, here's the thing I want you to know. Doesn't matter how many negative signs you have. Okay? I don't care what the negative numbers are. If you have one negative number when you multiply, the answer will be negative. No matter what your number is. So, yep. So, one negative number means your answer is negative. Doesn't matter if it's the bigger or smaller number. So if I suddenly move the negative sign to the 6, the answer is still negative. It's different than adding. Adding, you have to think about, okay, what was the bigger number? Multiplying doesn't. If there's one negative, your answer is negative. If there's two negatives, they cancel each other out, and your answer is positive. If your answer doesn't have any negative signs, it's positive anyway. So that's the concept. Some people just never think about that. One negative sign means your answer will be negative. All right, I'm gonna hand out homework in a little bit. Homework will be due later this week, Thursday. I'll make it due Thursday, so you have a couple days to work on it. We're gonna get to that here in a minute. Now, the first thing I need to do, I'm gonna hand out mid-chapter tests. The one we took Friday. Oops, I better get rid of that. Okay, all right.
Gary Bain.
Okay, all right, here's the idea. I'm gonna hand out your mid-chapter test. I do not want you to put these away, don't crumble them up, don't put them away, they are mine. I'm collecting them back in like 5 minutes. Okay, because we're gonna go through the 5-minute check through it. Okay, even if you got it right or wrong, it doesn't matter. I want this back, don't fold it, don't put it away. Reese.
Yeah, Phil.
I'll work Ryan.
What do you guys get?
Robin, he's right over there. I'm gonna go that way.
What'd you get? 38.
Abraham.
I don't like that.
Robbins.
Reese, what'd you
Okay.
get?
Tusha.
What'd you get, big boy?
You get better than
Not you, big boy.
What'd you get? What'd you get, Doris?
Red marks on it.
Donna.
Stop complaining.
And Sam.
Red marks on it.
So, alright. Okay, so everyone gets to look at their quiz. You don't need to share any scores or anything like that. Don't do that. Alright, now, here's the idea. I wanna walk through the actual answers. So, I think you guys need this. It's one of those things like it's only right to show you what you did, what you didn't do right. Now, here's the good news. It is a proper test. So, what that means, if you'd like to retake it, you can. So, all you have to do is talk to me that you say, Mr. Ward, I would like to retake that. I'm happy with my score. You have 1 week from today if you'd like to retake it. That's where you come in before or after school. We'll basically review some of the problems you missed, and then we'll set up a time. It will be a brand new test, and you'll get the better of the 2 scores no matter what, because that's what everyone wants to know. So it's a no-risk gamble. You get the better of the 2 scores. So even if like your score now is better than what you get later, you get the better of the 2. But it has to be before or after school. Question?
Can you take it like this to your arm now?
No, I prefer not. So, I prefer not, but if that's the only time that works for you, because of sports and other things, we'll work out something. But if it's like a sunny out, you'll have to do it in my room. Okay, does that make sense? So you have the option. It doesn't matter what your score is. Maybe you got 36 and you weren't happy with that. Retake it. I'm totally fine. It will be new, so I'll put new problems here, but they'll be the exact same format, the same exact layout. I just basically changed a number or 2. That's all I'm doing. To test whether you actually know what you're doing. Does that make sense? You have 1 week from today if you're going to choose to do that. So I will kind of warn you for the next couple days, like it's due. Okay. All right, let's move on. So positive scores. Again, I'm going to collect these in 5 minutes. Factors of 36. Most people got them that attempted this. All the factors of 36. So if you had a multiplication chart, 1 and 36 wasn't on there, but common sense tells you 1 goes in everything. 2 and 18 were not on there. 36 cut in half is 18, so 2 and 18. 3 and 12, 4, 9, 6, and 6. There should be no excuses for not having these on paper. Here's why. If you had a multiplication chart, which everyone had an option to have, they are printed on here. 4 and 9. 4 and 9 literally make 36. You should see how that works. Okay? So that was a combination, or 6 and 6 make 36. You're just looking for all those 36s. So these, you should have had at least all of these. That one should be a common because one goes in everything, and these were literally on that multiplication chart. That one would be the only exception. So if you didn't get that, what were you looking at? Because they're literally printed on here. All you have to do is find where 36s were and give me the numbers. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, 20 and 44. All of those were on the chart as well. 44, 2 and 22 are not, but 4 and 11 are. So you should have been able to at least get 4 and 11 and 1 and 44. The most common number between 20 and 44 were the 4s. Some people put all that work and then they never circled it, or they never told me which number was the bigger one, so you missed a point. If you didn't attempt it, you probably missed 5 or 6, depending on what you did. Okay, next one. Name the sets. 2 over 9 is rational. It's a fraction. The next number is irrational and never ended. Number 4, it is a natural, it is a whole, it is an integer, and it is rational. Because whole number because it's a 4, it's a natural number because it's a 4, it's an integer because it's positive or negative, and it's rational because I can make that a fraction. 4 over 1. Okay, the spaces. It's jumping by 4s. So, jump by 4, jump by 4, jump by 4. I used these numbers to figure that out. That you had to like figure out the spacing. Once you have that, jump up by 4, go down 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 by 4. Kind of makes all sense. So, it's jumping by 4s. Okay, next page. Okay, next page. -8 is technically a larger number. The reason why is if you think about a number line, -8 is over here, and -11 is this way, that's a smaller number. 53 in absolute values means positive. Positive numbers are bigger than negative numbers. 17, the absolute value of 17 is positive 17. That's a bigger number than negative 17. 9 is bigger than 4 when you take the absolute value of them, so that's a bigger number. The mouth always eats the bigger number. Think of it like an alligator or a Pac-Man. Okay, all right, next one. Will your answer be positive or negative? Well, when you add numbers like this, if the number is bigger and it's negative, your answer is negative. On the next one, the two negative signs cancel out because they're side by side, so your answer is positive anyway. And the last ones you add. If you add 29 and 46, you do have to put the 46 on the top. It adds up to be 75. 34 and -19, you have to actually subtract those. You have to put the 34 on the top because it's a bigger number. But you're subtracting still because they're opposites. You get 15. If you just count from 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. You can get up to 15. Next one. Negative and negative, you have to add these together to make a bigger negative number because they're both negative, so you have to actually add them. They're the same sign. This one, they're opposite, so you have to subtract. So you're going to get a 9. The 26 is negative, so you're going to get a negative number. The next one, negative 26 and positive 16. The negative 26 is bigger, so your answer will be negative. You have to subtract the 2. You're going to get negative 10. And then the last one, these two negative signs cancel out. You can actually see me doing that. So you have two numbers that are opposites. That's a negative, that's a positive number now. So you have to subtract them. You're going to get a negative 5 because the bigger number is negative. Most common mistake is people not forgetting to cancel out the negative signs. But you just tell me those answers. If you've got negative signs, you missed a point. If you didn't show any work, you missed 2. Because I wanted work. Okay, I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna collect, they're mine. If you want to retake, you don't need to say it in front of me. You can just email me like, hey Mr. Ward, I'm gonna come in tomorrow and I wanna review for the retake. Because I prefer that you email me instead of like telling me, because I'll tend to forget that. And try to give me a specific date when you're gonna come in. You have to be within a week. Okay, but again, they're in the grade book. Make sure I get these all back.
I'm gonna go first.
I'm not even sleeping. Are these in the grade book?
Yeah, there it is.
Lock it out.
Okay.
Oh!
Okay.
You missed!
I don't know.
I don't care, I was grabbing that.